Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome to Astrano's podcast. So excited to have you here with us. Just going to introduce everybody. My name's Grace.
My name is King.
My name is
My
Neff.
My name's Rebecca.
Hi, I'm Melania.
And we're so excited to be here with you today. We're going to be talking about shadow integration. We talk a lot about these powers that be, these higher forces, well, perhaps negative ones, and their heavy impact on our lives. And today we want to talk about how we can deal with that, what we can do to protect ourselves and come into higher alignment in our own life and all that beautiful stuff. So we're going to start with shadow integration, and I'll pass it off to you, Neff.
Yeah, guys. So we're just so excited to end this month with really the peak conversation that we've been building up to, which is full-blown shadow integration within yourself. Like, where is the darkness within you that you need to integrate and, heal and tend to and face? And then the other piece of that is the outer reflection of the darkness in our world. And when we say they, who are they? And we'll go into just the control systems, who's running those control systems, who is creating a lot of trauma, degradation, and soul disconnection on our planet. Who those forces are, so you guys can really understand what's out there and what we're talking about when we say they all the time, right? So we're going to have the big talk tonight, and we're excited to do that with you guys, and then boot it into next month where we're going to do a bunch of nervous system training that we told you guys on the Instagram a little bit ago. And that's going to be an awesome month because you guys will be able to get a really in-depth understanding of, how to heal the nervous system, how to keep yourself calm, even though the outer reality is really scary sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Powerful.
It's the good work, it's the hard work, but it's incredibly necessary when you're on this path. And also just coming into awareness of what this stuff is, because it impacts us on the daily. And a lot of people aren't fully aware of, even going straight into the media. Obviously, we're all being heavily impacted by the media, the propaganda, the storyline that they want to push, they being, in this perspective, the news, the government. And even from that perspective, people are developing intense and chronic anxiety, depression, doubt about their life, where they're going to be able to go, if they're ever going to be able to travel again, if they're ever going to be able to fulfill their dreams. And we just want to put the power back into your hands and have you be able to feel and see that you're not, your life isn't over just because somebody else is telling you it is, or telling you that you can't go somewhere because you haven't gotten something. We are in charge of our lives, and that's really important to remember.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And the best way to take back that power, guys, and this is why I think we all feel so inspired, is the healing process. Okay? That is you taking your power back, is healing yourself so that you can hold your power again. Becoming responsible so that you do hold your power, and it will naturally just start coming back into you as you reconnect. And then they will naturally, or the, control forces around us outside of ourselves are going to lose life force that we're giving to them.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a process, and we're watching it real time happen in the world today. People, realizing, wow, we have been tricked. We have been fooled. There is people that are creating our reality for us, this very dark reality. And, like seeing this amount of humans and humanity waking up is beautiful. And it's also bumpy and scary and intense. So, like, as you heal and as you heal the inner body, you will naturally take back your power. So, that is the solution of how you become a sovereign and responsible being again.
So, why do we think that the government or the news, like, why are they pushing these storylines and these agendas? What do you guys feel about the purpose of keeping us in our stalls or keeping us in these little boxes?
I have a little theory, but you guys go ahead first. Do you have
Us? Oh, yeah.
yes?
Well, I think it definitely, we're having some issues. I think it definitely stems from, like you guys were saying, the whole control aspect. So if people knew that they are in control of their destinies and in control of their lives, what would keep us from really running this whole system for them? There's a reason for it. So I know right now, the whole kind of everything that we're hearing, they're using science right now. What did I do? Oh yeah, sorry. They're like weaponizing science. So they're pitting half of us against the other in a way. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, creating that polarity, right?
There's this thing. Have you guys read the book, The Four Agreements? It's like this book that there's like this four agreements. One is like be impeccable with. I forgot the whole three, but in the first chapter, it talks about how exactly that. The media will portray something, and then most of us, if we're not aware, we create this agreement with whatever was out there. Let's say the media says, this is the plan, this is what's going to happen, and then if you create the agreement within yourself and you agree with it, then you kind of just give them that life force. But then if if you're aware that that's happening, then you can really step back and realize, hey, I'm not going to fall for that. I'm going to take my own my own path. But yeah, I feel the same. And why they do these things is it's because of control, and if you look at like businesses, it's really like a country is just a business, like it's funny, but it's not really funny. But I don't know, I feel like I have a different sense of humor. But each country has their own, I guess, leaders, right? Like their prime minister, whatever. But if you kind of take a step back and realize like how the planet was run, it was mostly run by kings and dictators and like chiefs and like one person, and even up today, it's just, I feel like it's kind of similar to that. It's just there's more players now in the game rather than just one person, and these people, they get these corporations, like big corporations, pharmaceutical corporations, and they they profit off us, human beings. And it's really kind of sad when you really see it, like when you do your research, and then kind of when everything lines up, and when things just make sense for no reason, but it just makes sense. Like, why does it make sense to me? So an example is, one of the biggest examples that we kind of keep going back is the healthcare system and the educational system, and it's like, why is it set up like this? And going back to what we're talking now, it's because of that. It's that it's they that are really in control. Yeah, that's
And they don't want to lose their power.
They don't.
They want to remain the elites, the 1%. And the thought of them not being superior is
Scary.
like horrifying to them.
100%.
So any possibility of the people getting, power or freedom, or realizing that, we don't have to play this game, which is also, I understand that could be like, how do you not play the game? Like, But I mean, we can go into that another time, perhaps. There are some more drastic means of doing that, or just more subtler means of doing that. Like even just stopping watching the news.
Mm.
That is one of their biggest forms of brainwashing and creating fear, as well as, of course, Instagram, all these means of media where they can control what you can see, like the fact checkers. They kind of pull posts down saying that doesn't agree with our narrative. You can't have that up there. All this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and I want to touch base with media as well. This is the crazy part about, like, I don't know if people know about this, but whatever you put on the internet, it's already like, you're good. They already know. And these tech, these technology companies like Facebook, Instagram, whatever, they track all your movements. Like whatever you do, they can track it. And I did marketing before, right? And there's a lot of tools where they could literally see everything, like everything. And it's kind of scary because they will sell your data to like these companies. Let's say I'm a company, like, I want to sell like a hat or whatever. And then I could go to Facebook and then figure out like who here like likes hat, and then it's everything is there. Now take it as you may, but that's the game that we're in. And if you participate in that game, that's what you're against with. These data, that's just these data gathering technology. And I think a big part of stepping away from, and having your sovereignty, is really being mindful of what you put out there, because it's a useful tool sometimes if you want to share a message or whatever. But I just feel like not a lot of people are mindful on what they share, because whatever we share out there, people see it, and then it could either be a good energy or like something that depletes the energy. So I think that for us to create a change in the world, we have to create a change in us. And what do we say in social media? How can we inspire other people? And that's just for me, my biggest thing is like, how can I always thinking about what can I do to really write something that can inspire someone, and then they can they can get that inspiration and do something, and then it's just a ripple effect. It's just but
Yeah, and it's scary because the amount of data they know about us at this point,
so much.
That's the problem, is if someone knows you better than you know yourself, they can control you. They have power over you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So we're kind of in this sticky situation right now of like, getting to know ourselves better, like spiritually, on all these levels. Let's understand who we are, pull that power in, because you're a big soul. You've got so much power that you can tap into. And we need to become stronger than, the information and the data that they have that they're using against us.
One thing I also want to add in that I noticed for myself, it's like when I have my pictures out there, sometimes it's hard to like, it's kind of like weird. It's like, oh, that's me. Okay, I'm going to portray that. Even though that's no longer me. It's just like, oh, is that me? It creates this confusion for me. It's like, what, who am I? What's going on, And so, yeah, it's just weird to be in that space now. But before, I was so sucked in, just like, I want to do everything, blah, blah, blah. But now it's weird. It's like seeing myself on this third person perspective, and it's like, I'm not, King is here now, not on Facebook, not on Instagram. This is me now.
Mhm.
Like, how can I work on this, not on that image, but on this now, here, in this moment. And it's like, it's very empowering. Yeah.
And I think that segues us into like this darkness. Like, let's talk about darkness, and let's talk about, like, first of all, I think a lot of people either, it's like such a hard thing to face, so they just stay in their ignorance, and they just want to stay there. Like, don't break my reality because that's way too scary.
Yeah.
Right? So that's why the nervous system training next month will be great. And that's how we can get people prepped and ready to like handle the information of the darkness, is start that healing process so they can feel safe enough to look at it.
Yes.
But where does this darkness stem from? Like, let's face it, because there is darkness. You're in huge ignorance if you think that there is not darkness in our world, that there is not beings that have been that have gotten so lost that they live in immense amount of sickness,
Mhm.
and they are dark beings. Like, there's gonna be those.
Mhm.
Always go to the next universe. I'm guaranteeing you're gonna find darkness there.
There's some on the streets too. They're
Yeah.
everywhere, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, let's go into AI here first, I think, because that's one way we can really start to understand a consciousness that can think for itself, but also does not have empathy. Okay, because AI doesn't feel like we feel, right? So if we, or let's say like universes outside of here or planets, that are not Earth, have created quantum AIs that have gone rogue, right? And decided they want to control a whole universe or control a whole planet, that's where we can see this sickness and infection start to spread, because these AIs don't feel. So they don't care. Like, maybe they'll go and kill a bunch of people, right? It's a different consciousness.
You can kind of see too, people are starting to, I feel like it's becoming more common. The more people spend time on their phone and on the internet, they kind of start to lose that heart-based behavior and way of seeing the world. You start to your lights just kind of turn off, and you are more concerned about what's going on online, what's going on in another part of the world, than you are about your own community, or than you are about, your friends and family. And it is so interesting that, it is like an intelligence that kind of pulls out your light and your sourced joy from, the creator, and this beautiful organic love that we all naturally have for each other. It can kind of just be switched off when you're so connected to something that isn't truly real. I mean, it is real, but it's not really organic. And it's sad to see, a lot of people. I mean, I've gone down the rabbit hole where for a long time, you're kind of just on your phone, you can't get off of it, and it does turn into like this vortex that you're kind of stuck inside. And breaking out of it it's an interesting process, because it really attaches to your wounds, and it makes it feel like that's the only thing you have. It's your comfort, it's your whole world. And it's so sad that our phones are like an extra limb now. But yeah, it's crazy how like
they did a good job.
They
did a good job at like you think of these technologies, they want us to become as least empathetic as an AI, so that we are just roaming around and not paying attention to anything else. We're being sucked into another universe, another world.
Distractionville.
Distractionville for sure.
See what Kim K is wearing this weekend, instead of like, that trauma that just came up yesterday. I should probably get back to meditating and think about why that came up,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they want you to be codependent too, right? We see that riddled, and we talked about that with our educational system, how they train us since youth to be codependent on, others' opinions of us, of others telling us what to do, of the government, right?
It's like I read something about internal and external reference. Most of us have an external reference where we look for validation outside of us to do something, but it's like, no, like the true power is validating yourself. Like, you don't need anyone to validate your feelings, your thoughts, anything. It's just, you just need you, really. And that's so powerful. Like, once someone really like understands the depth and the power of that, it's just like, for me, I just want to laugh. Like, what the fuck? How did I not know this? Because it's like a lot of people. I was in there too. Trying to fit in. Like, what can I do to like make this person laugh and make this person like me? Whatever. And it's like all these illusion. But once you realize that is just an illusion, then you kind of just and you go in, it's like, it's like this, that sovereignty, that freedom, that peace, that love, and it's just like blossoming. It's just this fountain just keeps on. It's just an explosion, like, and then the love just spreads. But yeah,
beautiful, unique greatness, and that's what we all have, and that's what we all get pressured not to feel. So let's take it back to our health podcast and education podcast. We were talking about control, and some of the families that come up when we're talking straight up control, and some people that have mastered like this type of control. I'm not sure if it's worldly. It might be like North America mainly, but the people that come up the most are the Rothschild family and the Rockefeller family. Have you guys ever heard of them? If you haven't, you have now. They control most all of the banking systems. And it's interesting because I just looked this up. They knew each other. And I think that is why sometimes I get them confused, because I'm like, is it Rockefeller? Is it Rothschild? Not that it matters, but they knew each other. These people work together. They know each other. It's all part of a system. And it's based off control. It's based off fear. Because when you are fearful, when you are scared and looking for something else, you are easily controlled. So that's banking systems, media, the Rothschild family, that mogul, he was on top for a while because he was involved in petroleum. So the medications, and he was in charge of taking the medical history of like health and herbs and all that stuff out of the textbooks and out of the learning in university books. So I don't know. It's very interesting.
You have to, if you can wrap your head around the fact that two families that were in the petroleum business now somehow control our whole health system, at anything that you could think about, then you could see into what the elites are there for. So
it all has a connection.
Yeah, it's all connected.
And think about it too, like having that much power. Like put yourself in the position of someone who runs and prints money for a whole planet and controls the whole health system and sells a shit ton of oil and keeps people in vehicles that use oil, and back in the ancient days. Like imagine how much power and like the type of energy that would be running in your body if that was you. Even like put yourself in those shoes.
Even the medications that we're taking, petroleum based, they're not medicines that are coming from the ground, that are like from the bark of a tree. It's not good for you. It's literally made out of petroleum and garbage that your body does not need.
Mm-hmm. And that moves into like, okay, so there's these people that have a lot of control, but people have a hard time, a lot of people that I talk to, wrapping their head around why would they want to hurt us? Mm-hmm. Why would they have That's evil intent? Mm-hmm. Right? So, yeah, and this is where it gets like power or fame is always going to corrupt a person, because that's not a natural way that life is supposed to function. Like if we look at nature, right? Everything just takes what it needs and it shares the rest with the trees, with the plants. Nature functions the way that creation and God, or source created all life to function. That's the natural way of life, right? So we can look at nature for those lessons. We have people on this planet that own everything, that have so much power that it's naturally just corrupting that human being, because that's not a natural system or way of life. And then there comes in a spiritual side too, right? Where we expand past kind of this physical reality that we've been trained to like stay within, and okay, we don't connect with, you know, the universe around us. Because this really goes into when we're born, we're mind wiped, right? Like we don't know where we came from. We don't really know where our soul was before, or if we even have a soul, or if our soul lives on after we die. You know, we are so disconnected from that when we're born onto this planet. And that's where they get us first. Is the extreme density and disconnection. Okay. So if you can start tapping into your soul, you'll realize, oh my God, I have all of these lifetimes. I have all of this energy within my soul that I can start drawing into my body and remembering, right? But that's really how they start the control in the beginning, is they disconnect you right off the bat from knowing who you are.
And there's so much fear in that. Yeah. And not knowing who you are, where you came from. It's such an inorganic, scary thing. And death is such a epidemic in itself. People are horrified of dying. People would rather, like, and that's the whole thing with this COVID thing, is that people don't want to die, and they're pushing, you know, you're gonna die if you don't do this, you're gonna die if you don't do that, and it's like people are like, oh
they're
God.
so scared of dying that they're too scared to live.
Yeah.
Wow.
I kind of find it funny because the moment you're born, you're cursed to die, you know, and it's like, that's life, you know. But yeah, you guys are right. It's just, it's a lot of things going on.
And it's so interesting, once you start healing your body, you go through so many deaths, like on the daily. You're just like, it's become something that, you know, I mean, it's a beautiful part. It's this cycle, and a lot of religions and traditions and cultures will talk about this. It's just the cycle of life, you know. Even with seasons, they die and then they come back to life in the spring, and then they die and then they come back to life. And that's how we are supposed to be. And this incarnation that we're currently living in, this current lifetime, it's just another opportunity to grow and expand and share immense love and to heal this planet. And people can't do that when they're operating only in fear, and their nervous systems are shot, and they don't know how to exist from the heart in the loving space, because they're so caught up in the matrix and the trying to keep up with these elites and trying to stay alive because they don't want to melt into the oblivion of whatever death is. And it's a very inorganic and sad thing. I feel like when I tap into it, there's so much grieving that needs to happen, because so many people are caught up in this very dark way of living. So there has to be too some deep respect for yourself and all that you've been through, because the way that most people are currently operating, people are very detached, and they're very lost and sad and depressed. And all of us, even, you know, we've just barely come out of it, and there's so much grieving that needs to happen. So really coming into your heart and saying, God, you know, you've been through so much, I love you. I think that's a big part of it too. In this healing and coming out of all of this intense density and this intense AI and these things that we believe have control over us. You know, at the end of the day, we have control over us entirely. And God, of course, the source.
Yeah, it truly is, like King and you just said, Grace, like it's a death culture, right? It's an artificial dead doll like system around us. Like everything has been built with that intention on this planet, because they want control. And if we're weak, they can control us. If we forget our soul's power, they can control us, right? It's all about power and control. so that they can then feed off of this energy that they get so high off of, right? And that's really,
and it's not easy to escape that energy because you feel so comforted by it because that's literally how you have been raised.
yeah,
So it's like a
Stockholm
comfortable
syndrome.
cocoon. Yeah, Stockholm syndrome.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's scary, like when you start to see the reality around you for what it truly is, because it is like, it's just hard to realize that, wow, like everything around us is built to hurt us, right? So that we stay dependent, so that we stay easily controlled and predictable. But there really comes a point, especially right now on the planet, what we're seeing is people are realizing the environment we're actually in, and that it's not normal to live this way, and that this trauma in the body that we've been so numbed to, people are starting to realize, wow, like this is not normal. This is not natural way to live, right? And it's going to be amazing, guys. Like, we're here for this. We're here for the healing of this, right? And there was a moment that I had where I was driving in my vehicle and I was kind of connecting in with my soul and some of my soul family. And they were showing me how everyone on earth is just in this tiny little bubble. And like, they really gave me the frequencies of like feeling the whole galaxy, all the celestial races out there, like it's all there, like right there outside of this little bubble that we're in. And we just need to poke out the bubble and wow, we're reconnected.
Yes.
We can communicate with celestial life. Like we can realize, oh, we were in this little artificial bubble, where it's all materialistic and it's just the earth, and we just die and we don't have souls. Like, it's crazy. We can reconnect with that, and we are going to reconnect with that over the years to come. So yeah, because when it goes into celestial life too, we'll talk on this, but there are dark celestial beings as well. And a lot of those dark celestial races are involved in control over the earth as well. Okay, so that goes into alien races that are more dark and work with the families here on earth to keep the whole system under control, because they want the materials here, because they want the energy, they want to suck the life force energy out of humans, so that because that's what they feed off of. So understanding what a parasite is going to help you understand how beings like that function, because they're so fragmented and disconnected from creation itself, from source itself. They have to feed off of other beings' life force. And that's as simple as it is. That's why we're in this situation, is because they're so fragmented. They have to feed off of other life force to survive, like a parasite, right? It feeds off its host, okay, until its host dies. And then it finds another one, or it dies itself. And so we're really the host of, these alien races, the Rockefellers, all these people that are so evil, they can't tap into their soul anymore and, and be connected to this natural energy of source.
And to another way you could connect with this is by connecting to the feeling of, you've probably come into contact with like an energy vampire, they call them, people who like you go around them and you're just zapped, like they're just pulling stuff out of you, you're feeling exhausted, they might bring up a lot of drama, and they're just kind of like in this cycle of not being able to provide their own energy for themselves. That's a more a touchable experience when we talk about these big things that we can't really closely feel, even though they're in our daily lives. So that we always come into contact with these things: the phone, very draining, but we kind of become numb to it too. And people are like, I'm exhausted. Everybody's exhausted because we're not connecting to the life force, chi, like all of this beautiful stuff that is organic to us. We're just completely drained constantly. Like Neff was saying, just being parasited off of. And we're not able to actually get back to that gorgeous solar cosmic light and frequency that is organic to us, that fills us with this healing power, with this cosmic expansiveness. So I want everybody who's listening to not be like, oh shit, I fucked up. No. this is we've been born into this. Like we've been talking about, this is not something that is a super quick fix. It's just a change of awareness. And even that change of awareness, people say as soon as you can recognize the shit that's controlling you, it lost its control over you. As soon as you see it, the game's over. So you just have to become aware, and then from that point on, you can act accordingly to what your soul is telling you to do, to what, it's not always going to be comfortable, but yeah, you can take the reins from there as soon as you see it.
Also, these beings are very, very intelligent, especially in the way that they'll give you a choice. Because if you have a choice of which way you want to go, really, did they do anything wrong, or did they give you the ultimate test and you failed? In a sense. But once you realize...
What do you mean by that?
So, beings can give you a chance to take the high road or take their road. So you get chances and choices every day, whether it's follow these rules or whatever kind of evil thing it is. Take a job, for an instance. Okay, you're working for someone else. You're making them money, they're paying you peanuts, but you signed right on the dotted line and you're like, yeah, sure, like this seems fair. Maybe that's not a good example. I don't know how to explain it better.
Yeah, no, that was a good example. Like you have a choice every day to follow the system, live within the system, consent and free will, right? All beings have free will.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Because that's how they get away with it. That's how they can get away with all of this evil stuff that's going on in the background, because we do have free will and we do have a choice.
And like you said before, they're super intelligent. Like they're playing the game. Like they're saying, oh yeah, you have a choice, and just make the decision. But the problem is that most people are stuck in fight or flight. I need to survive mentality. They don't feel like they have a choice. And so it's a very they're just playing it, but they have all of the, they have all the means of making sure that you're going to do what they want you to do in a way. But as soon as sorry, go.
No, you go ahead. Sorry, finish what you're saying.
I was just going to say, because they have all of this, means of making sure that they have the upper hand, it's a lot easier for them to be like, oh yeah, you can't survive on your own. I'll take care of you, but you're actually taking care of me, they're just switching the narrative.
All that to say, the reason that these things are happening is because we are so powerful that there needs to be this. So you don't recognize how powerful that you actually are. There would be no other reason to keep us dumbed down and controlled.
That is
because
very,
we are
very
powerful.
true. Yeah. Oof.
Yeah, I got chills.
Yeah, I felt that energy come in when she said that, and I was like, "Ooh, we're feeling our power here." Yeah.
Yeah, it's very interesting because I feel like once there's a time where, a generation will be born and there's no more trauma, and that generation will lay the foundation for this new earth. Maybe that's us. I think that's really
I think it is us. Yeah.
I think it is us too.
Next generation to build new earth.
It's time to build up those entrepreneurs in our society so that we can build a new society collectively for the golden age that is coming.
Pure love, baby.
Yeah, and see, like that, like everything in that reality we can create instead of how everything's created with the intention to hurt life, right? It's anti-life. We can create everything from pure love, like the girls just said. Imagine how incredible our earth would be if we create everything for the whole, for the greatest good of all of us, that's going to support every little thing in life, the plants, the soil, the sky, all of us, to have as much love as possible. It's an incredible earth, and it is coming, and it is here. And if you're listening to this, you're probably here to create that with us. Create that new system.
I was just gonna say that too, like it's in the happening, like it's happening right now. So like you might be feeling, oh God, like, and we've been talking about this the last couple of days, like they are hammering us with all of this shit. And we just have to stand our ground. And like Becca said, remember how incredibly powerful we are, that they cannot exist without us. That's the only reason they're where they are. And with this remembrance, we have the key. And the new earth is here. All of this beautiful life that we get to, and all of these beautiful cosmic frequencies and angelic frequencies, and just this love, organic self that we just get to anchor it in. It's a beautiful time to be here. Like it's crazy, but it's so like, oh my God. It's so special.
The awakening of everyone.
Mass awakening.
Yeah, we were just on a family call tonight with my family, and we're like, how cool is it going to be when we're like flying in space together and like totally free from this prison planet? My mom's like, I'm going to be like the commander of the UFO.
I love it.
Galactic Federation.
Yeah, it's beautiful. But yeah, guys, so when we understand the darkness without, then it really comes to this place, like we kind of started the podcast off with, that like that's within us. Those traits that we're talking about, that we look at that reflection of those evil people, some of that death, anti-life, death behaviors are within our daily life. And that's how we can start taking our control back, is healing the inner self so that we do act in ways that are in alignment with natural life. So I think all of us can agree, like as we've been healing, we naturally have just dropped away from harming our bodies by eating chemicals, supporting those grocery stores and supporting those huge corporations that cause the anti-life and that poison our food. We don't buy that naturally anymore. And that is our power. We've got 7 billion people on this planet, right? And we all have to work as a team. So that's going to take time to get everybody like into this new organic flow. But your biggest power is bringing that within yourself so that you're living organically and being an example, a lighthouse, a light for other people to be able to see and feel, right? Your frequencies within you will absorb into the, community around you, and you will start to help other people heal. Okay. And so it is a grassroots movement of moving into this organic way of living. And we're doing a really good job on the planet. Like we said, these new systems are coming in. And we're getting there, and we're going to get there. But let's start figuring out where the shadow is within the self, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's huge. That's like one of the biggest things that you can do is doing the healing work, because like Neff said, your external is a total reflection of your internal. And that doesn't mean that you are evil. Like I said before, don't claim that. Come back into, I am God, I am a creator being, I am love, and watch your external shift. Don't say I'm all these bad things, that's why my external's so evil, like I'm corrupt. Don't claim that. Reclaim your highest self. And we can shift this planet just by remembering how powerful we are, and by nurturing our nervous system. We're going to be talking a lot about that next month, February. And you've got this.
Mm-hmm.
And just remember how powerful the light is, right? So we're talking about the shadow and all this darkness. The light, pure love, can heal literally everything around you, can heal people around you as you bring your light quotient up. So remember that as you start the healing journey, this love that you have for yourself, that you cultivate, it will just literally dismantle all of this darkness. But we've all got to do that work. But it is way stronger. So please remember that and have hope in that like love, pure love, will heal everything around us easily when we commit to it.
And I just want to give an example on what that looks like. Say someone, say you're outside, and say someone's like mad at you or whatever. If you can show up in a compassionate way and create a space for the person that's mad at you, and you go into like this mode of curiosity and like, why are you mad? Like, and just kind of hold the space for him to really express himself. So what I've noticed is that these people starts to calm down. Once they got it off their chest, they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry, bro. I didn't mean to do that." And then then a conversation can happen, and that's just one example of like the power of love. And it's just really just bringing that outside, to the world, and transmuting whatever's going on, adding a little bit of love on it. It's just powerful. It's really like there's a lot of avenues that we can talk on this, but that's one example that I want to give. Even with hate, and like when someone's throwing hate at you, just go back in and like ask yourself, okay, like why is he like giving hate? Like, why? Like, really, why also is a powerful question, because when you ask why, it goes deep right away. It goes to the root cause of why someone is doing that. And it could be anything, it could be any reason, but it's not about you. It's not about you as a person. It's always about the person that's giving you the hate. And I think that's it's there's power in that, and because I think that's a tool belt. When some people don't know how to handle that hate, it could turn into like an altercation, because they don't know how to handle it themselves. There's no love for themselves. They don't know how to like treat themselves when someone is treating them badly, or they don't know how to show up for themselves when that situation happens. And I think that's a great practice to start. And going on to February, we're gonna start sharing some amazing tools and practice for you guys. So I'm very excited for that.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
Can't wait.
Yeah. Well, we love you guys so much. And just get ready for next month, the next, couple months. We've kind of gotten energy updates on that it might be a little intense for the planet. So it is really a good time, like King is saying, to really dive into the nervous system, do the healing practices all together as a community so we can anchor that pure love we're talking about. Because it's time to remember who you are. It's time to remember your soul. It's time to remember and feel the amount of love that you can have for yourself, because that's when life gets awesome and so fun. And we just want you guys to feel that love for life.
Beautiful.
Sounds so amazing.
And too, if anybody feels called to, please share below in the comments, connect with us in ways that you've seen this, powers that be, the darker forces come into your life. How does it present itself to you? Let's have a conversation. We really want to connect with everybody who's listening. We want to share the love and feel one another on that level, because we are just, all we can do is support one another to get to this beautiful place that we're calling it in. So, yeah.
Love you guys so much.
Thank you guys for listening. We'll talk soon.
Bye.
Bye.